Oh, thank you, Alan. Hello, everyone. My name is Angelina Yang. I'm the co-founder of Transform AI Studio, where we actually help companies to integrate AI into their products or operations. So we're a boutique consulting firm, and my topic today is founder as brand building trust authority and stand out from the competition. So this is not a pitch. I'm a 1 year old founder, so I started a company with my co-founder early last year, and I want to share my experience on this topic for the past year and also my observations as well. So before I get started, I want to get a little bit more understanding of my audience here. So can I ask who are founders here? Is there any founders? Okay, they're founders. Great. Are there any who's active on social media? Like, LinkedIn, TikTok, okay. Not a lot. Who's thinking about going to market strategies or who's working on go to market? Or who cares about go to market? Okay, at least you care. Okay, great. So before I move on to the next slides, um, even if you're not a founder, you'll find out that it may be relevant to you anyway. So before I move on to the actual content, I wanna clarify about the concept of branding. So branding is a really broad concept. It could include things like maybe your logo design of your product or your company, or maybe you're using paid ads, so your ads copy, right? Or maybe the messaging on your landing page is really important. That's part of your branding. But I want to narrow it down to a really small niche about how founders we use our voice to share content in order to become more visible in front of our ICP, so our potential customers. How to become more visible in front of our potential customers. So that's where I'm gonna talk about today. So the first question is, why am I choosing this topic to discuss today? I can share like my story. So it happened actually a few years ago. So I at the time I was working at a fintech company leading data science teams. And I started a newsletter called ML Notes. So literally it's machine learning notes. So I was just sharing what I'm seeing day to day as business problems in data science at work. And I had no intention to build any audience at the time. I just want to share like, okay, this A/B testing knowledge, maybe just share that. And over time, it grew to like over 1,000 subscribers on my newsletter. And what happened, what interestingly happened was a year later, there was this gaming company CTO called me up and he asked me, would you be interested in joining us to lead our data team? And I was like, oh, well, how did you? I don't even know your company, or how did you find me? And then he said, oh, our CFO looked at your blog post on Medium, and then he felt your content is relevant to the problems they're seeing at the company. So this was like an eye-opening experience for me. So this is the first time in my career that I landed a job without applying for it. I don't even know this company, right? I joined them, and I feel like this opens door for me to like, hey, isn't that a better approach? Like I didn't even apply for the job, and then in 2023, well, I consolidated a lot of my blog posts on ML Notes into a book because I'm hiring for like data scientists on my team at a time, sharing a lot of the information. So I consolidated that into a book called Machine Learning Interview. So I shared a lot of questions on that book, and so I started sharing that book. Later that year, 2023, my co-founder and I we wrote a second book together on retrieval augmented generation, which is a RAG, AI technology. At the time, we were kind of early, I think, and we started sharing that book as well. What happens was we started getting a lot of inquiries and questions from different people asking to learn about the technology and also asking about collaboration opportunities, and that led us to actually start this company, Transform AI Studio, because we're seeing more questions. We decided that maybe we can turn that into some sort of business, and then on top of that, we realized that because we're working on these projects, right? And then we started talking about these technical solutions on a daily basis. And then what came to my mind was, hey, we're talking about this every day anyway. Why don't we just record our conversation and put it on YouTube? So that's what we did early last year, starting from February. We built a YouTube channel called TwoSet AI, um, where we actually talk about we actually talk about the AI technologies and stuff like that. What's trendy? So we want to be trendy, so we talk about trendy stuff. The results last year was actually also mind blowing for me as well. So we started with like 0 subscribers for sure, right? And in December last year, we were able to hit like 50,000 subscribers for our YouTube channel. And then it just opens up doors to more people seeing our content, asking us questions, and start asking potential collaboration opportunities. There are universities reach out, or some different companies. We were able to land several projects with some tier one customers. And then at the end of the year, we decided that maybe, with that learning from doing projects and learning from, building things and sharing these content, maybe we can start a Maven course like giving it back to the community. I'm reading too much. And then this is when I realized that it's kind of like forming like I can see this small flywheel that I'm seeing forming for my company, right? So from building content, share content, and getting the audience feedback, potentially generating some leads, and then creating more content. So this is potentially something that it's a business model that worked for us, and it sounds to me like based on my 1 year experience is reasonable for me. At this stage, it may not be a venture seeking business model, but it does not mean that it cannot be a venture seeking business model. At a different stage or applies for someone. If you're looking for funding, it could be an approach that you could take on as well. So the main focus today is why. So that's my experience. So why does this matter for you? Or if you can walk away with one thing in your mind after my talk today, maybe I'm hoping that you can have more clarity or have a better or more solid answer to yourself that why should this matter to you. Um, so I've talked with more than 200 founders last year. Mostly I just want to learn from them. Like, what are you doing? What are the pitfalls? What are the traps that you've hit, and so I can avoid doing bad things. On top of watching all the YC videos. So Jeffrey, I learned a lot from him and a lot of founders here. And this is one of the things that I get a lot. People who agree with this statement. Startup branding is a luxury to be indulging once the company has made it. So people say that once I made 1 million, once I hit 1 million ARR, I'm gonna think about branding. I'm gonna think about my presence, right? So I get this a lot, but I want to share some stories that took a different approach. So this is Grant Lee from Gamma AI, right? This is a PowerPoint creation AI tool. It's doing really well. So as you can see that he's a chosen platform is probably LinkedIn, and he has established a good presence, a very engaged community. And you can see that he's sharing product updates, he's sharing his personal startup journey, industry trend, and he's and in turn, I think it's fueling his own growth for his startup as well. And this is Alex Xu. I don't know how many of you follow Alex Xu. Yeah, okay. He's in my opinion, I think he's the best Asian American founders who has made it this way. Um, he has almost 1 million followers on LinkedIn, and you can see his trajectory. At 2018, he left Twitter, and then his current company is 6 year old, and then it started in 2019. But what really happened, I was following him like as early as 2019, 2020. And there was no buy goal. There's no such company at the time. He was just posting these really nice visualization of system designs. It's really amazing. And it's also very relatable for non-technical people as well. I'm not a software engineer, but he's sharing things like, hey, if you were to build Twitter today, what kind of system design should you be thinking about, right? It's a very relatable and intriguing question. So he's posting about those kind of things. I also think that he's also probably he's very smart. I think he also ride a wave of a little bit of a trend of using visualization at the time. The reason is that this guy. So I don't know if who knows about the BERT model. Not many AI people here. Okay, so the BERT model is the most probably the most important paper in the field of AI. I can share the slides. So you don't have to take pictures, so don't worry about it. This is the most important paper in AI probably. This marks the beginning of the AI era because of this transformer model. This is around 2018. And Jay Alamar, he became really viral because of this blog post, this single blog post that visualized this very complex neural network architecture in a way that everybody can understand. Okay, this is all the visualization. It becomes very, very easy to consume. And if you he's not a founder today, but he's working as a director of engineering, I think, at Cohere, which is a very great, very good AI company, right? If I were to guess like how he landed his job at Cohere, I'm thinking a part of it is because of virality of his blog posts. He's an influencer himself. This is how like a lot of the modern startups companies are doing their business also as well. So they're not just hiring roles for daily operations, execution of things like director of engineer, right? This guy, but also as some sort of developer relationship or advocates or evangelist of the company, of the product. They have traffic. People will pay attention to where they go, right? So they're really important. Another guy, I don't know anybody, a lot of Chinese people here, everybody knows about this guy. 孙艺珍，对，Yeah，Yu Zhen, he's one of the other influencer I really like. He's also not a founder today, but he's working at a A/B testing company, and you can see that his title is staff data scientist. But I asked him, are you still coding these days? And he said, not really. Most of the time that he's spending is really creating content to share, like to educate potential customers for AB for this A/B testing platform. Like, why do you need Qubit, right? Qubit for A/B testing, things like that. Experiment design. And he has his own personal IP as well. Like he's sharing a lot of career development tips, and where AI is going, and all those kind of things. He's doing really well. If you follow him. So this is my shameless plug. This is my YouTube channel. I'm not considering myself as part of the success story. I just share Eugen, so I want to share mine. So one last example. So Adam Robinson, he's a serial entrepreneur. I really like him. He's on LinkedIn a lot. He has done it for many times, and he's saying that he has done like he bootstrapped 0 to 1 million ARR twice. And if I remember correctly, the second time he said that he did it within 16 weeks. So how do you do that within 16 weeks? And his B2B is not B2C. So the way he did was he said he spent a year ahead of that to build his audience on LinkedIn because his customers are founders and startups. So he created tons of content towards that audience. And if you look at his posts, it's very, very well written, very thoughtful, a lot of engagement. And I think that's how he achieved it. And by the way, to quote him, he said something like, which is I really, it's like my new motto. He's saying that the new unicorn is if you bootstrap to 10 million ARR, that's the new unicorn. So I really like that stat. And also for people who likes curves, this is from some our business partner, just for your reference, and this is only one data point. Building a strong brand can fuel your growth for sure. A second kind of like statements that I get a lot is this. Most people are thinking social media, right? It's a form of advertising. So I'm not going to say no to this. I do think social media is a form of advertising. You have a purpose writing your content, right? But it can be more. last week I wrote a blog post about about what I learned from Crystal and Jasmine Alec. You might not familiar with these people, but Crystal is a branding expert. It's really famous. Jasmine Alec is a branding expert on LinkedIn. So they had a very inspiring quote. They said something like, you don't need to sell in your content to be able to sell from your content. So again, you don't need to sell in your content to be able to sell from your content. I think that's kind of what I experienced as well. The key ideas, one of the tactics things that you can think of is you don't have to have call to action at everything that you create. You don't have to come by, here's the valuable things I'm giving you and please come buy my product. You don't have to do that. But people will come to you and ask questions. For people who enjoy stats, here's I think this applies to not just American companies. So consumers, they trust the brand more when the CEO are active on social media. And consistent branding images on social media also could on average potentially increase your revenue by a third. For bigger companies on the streets, right? The financial analysts, maybe Audrey can tell me more about it. Like the financial analysts, they are more likely to refer stocks to buy based on CEO's reputation. Do you care about this? We can take it offline. But then and also if you're a bigger company, the market value of your company is heavily tied to the CEO's reputation. So the next natural question is really how do you think about doing that? I want to share a slide that I give a presentation with my friend Lucy at a writers camp. So this is for like people, aspiring writers who wants to publish a book. So I was just sharing AI ideas for writing, and I think this applies to everywhere. So there's a really good podcast by, I don't know if you know about Courtland Allen, who's the founder of Indie Hacker. He has a really good podcast called Brains, and where in one episode he interviewed James Clear and Mark Manson, Atomic Habit, that book, the author of that book. So professional writers. So they discussed about how do you write a book today. And then James Clear mentioned that, okay, today he's taking a totally different approach. He's sharing his potential book ideas, the chapters that he's going to write, and some snippets of manuscript openly in the form of maybe a blog post. So he's sharing that information early and getting feedback. And the early reader feedback will help him to determine which chapter or what storyline he should spend more time on. So essentially, so when I hear that, oh, that's amazing. Even the professional writers today are taking on an entrepreneurial approach, because when they're writing a book, they're thinking about going to market on day one. So that's the inspiring thing I learned. And a lot of the founders, the startup founders today, I talk with, use this strategy of building public. It doesn't mean that a lot of things you can share when you're building. Some, like Adam shares like revenues, and then Jerry Liu or Harrison Chase probably share a lot of the whatever they're building new features and stuff like that. So there are a lot more strategies. I'm not going to go deep to everything, but I want to talk about this one single word, authenticity. So if you were to ask me to use one word to describe effective content, the first thing that comes to my mind is authenticity. To be honest, I actually struggle a lot with this. The thing is, some people might tell you, or I've heard a lot about how do you show authenticity is like you need to show vulnerability. And I personally I'm very uncomfortable with the idea of sharing vulnerability, because of my upbringing and my culture. I'm from China. When I grew up, like, you're not allowed to complain, right? I cannot complain about anything, right? If I fail on something, or if I'm not confident about something, I have something imperfect, do not share, right? That's why when I'm in college in the US, I don't raise my hand because I'm not ready yet, right? So I'm very uncomfortable with it. And the funny thing is when I joined to corporate settings in the US, and then I was told that squeaky wheels will get oil. and I feel like it's totally against my culture. But later on, I feel like, is authenticity really just showing these vulnerable stories that you experience? If I'm just uncomfortable sharing like in such a way that I feel like I'm trying to grab attention or looking for empathy, maybe it's something else. So like, I've been thinking about this for a long time, and in the last month or so, I feel like I've obtained my epiphany about this authenticity thing. And hear me out. If you have other ideas, discuss with me. I would love to hear more opinions on this. So I'm thinking authenticity to me is, at least to me, is allowing myself the time and space and room to pause and think. So I've been in the AI wave since as early as like OMFIT, transformer models, BERT models, even before that, Elmo, OMFIT from Fast AI. So if you're familiar with the trajectory of how these models evolved over time till today, you are as anxious as me. I'm very anxious about like how to keep up with the best and the fastest, the best the most fancy models, and what's possible with AI, right? But what happens with that anxiety is it just fuels me to read more and consume more information. So I'm constantly consuming information without giving myself the time to pause and really, think. And I think that's what's missing from like authenticity perspective in terms of content creation. If you really think about it, a lot of the uh, um, AI generated content, right? AI is really good at consuming these information, but if it doesn't grow through your brain, and you didn't really think about how you frame this. By the way, this presentation today, I use ChatGPT to generate a title. And I also use ChatGPT, oh, and the Gamma too, to generate a bunch of slides. And I did not use any of the slides, and I use the title, and none of the slides are from AI generated. So this is completely organic, completely authentic. That's the reason, because I want to spend the time to really think what I want to share. So that's about authenticity. And in conclusion, I want to mention that, I think your branding is your positioning, and your positioning is related to your target audience. It is your ICP. That is not to say that, especially, my 1 year experience, right? That is not to say that it doesn't evolve, because part of building the startup, the experience of building something is like, I'm looking for my ideal customer profile. Who's my customer? And that actually change over time. And if that changes, my position changes, and then my branding changes. I think over time we will all find where we belong, which path we should be on eventually if you just keep going. And a strong brand will be like your brand. As long as your brand is aligned with your positioning, I think you are creating very strong brand. So what can you do? Uh, One sentence. Consider a start now. I'll tell you the story. Last year when I talked Yu Zhen, and he interviewed me twice when I was still like at a gaming company, and then I told him that I'm thinking of starting a YouTube channel. What do you think? And he said it's gonna be very hard, and I agree with him. I do think it's really hard, but maybe I spent less time on thinking about it's very hard, but just went ahead to think about what kind of content I can share. So that's where I am today. And more wise, for people who need more wise. Everybody knows this company. Who's launching on Product Hunt? Anybody? Nobody? Okay. And if you ever consider launching on Product Hunt, DM me, I'll upvote you. Have you ever heard? So for people who don't know about Product Hunt, it's where people go in and launch their product. You can post like your description of your product on this website. A lot of people will come. People will upvote you. If you get into the select list, like top 20 every day, you get more, probably a first wave of for a user, especially if you're building like AI SaaS, right? So have you ever thought about like it occurs to me all the time, like how many products are launched every day on or every month on Product Hunt? So I did a menu count myself for the last week. So it's the holiday season, so it's very low, right? It's not going to be very busy. It's roughly around 150 to 250 per day. So 150 to 250 products every day on Product Hunt, thinking about it. And then that's if it's 200, then it's going to be like 6,000 per month. And if it's 300, then it's going to be almost 10K, right? A little bit less than 10K. And in my research, this is the upper bound in my research, like per month. Sorry, not per day, per month. So not to scare you. But the point is that there are a lot of competition, right? So any ideas that you come up with or any ideas you're thinking or pondering, somebody probably have done something or created a version of it already. So for more stats, the other thing to pay attention to is this cold call. Who's using cold calling as a strategy? Okay, yeah, people are cold calling, right? So cold calling effectiveness has dropped 80% last year. Why is that? It's also because Product Hunt, right? Because last year there was a proliferation of AI SDR tools, AI CRM tools. So creating contents to reach out to somebody becomes easier. I'm spammed by tons of emails on my inbox and on my LinkedIn inbox. So I think all of us are probably experiencing this, right? Are you really paying attention to your LinkedIn inbox or your email inbox? No, because when people are creating those tools, maybe they didn't realize there's a side effect that happening or it's gonna happen that we will be overwhelmed by this information, even though it's easier today. On average, it takes about 2 years to build strong brand. But there are people who are one-shot wonders, like Jay Alamar with that one single blog post went viral. You can still pursue that. I am like I consider myself 1 year in. So my goal is to continue this trajectory and then try another year, see where I am. So hopefully next year I'll share this a new listen and learns as again. Average cost is really expensive. If you want to have somebody to help you to manage your social media accounts, really it's going to be really expensive. This is one last visual I have about, this is also from the Writers Camp presentation, but I think this is really interesting. It also ties back to like my own imposter of, showcasing imperfect things. Like my struggle. Like, are you okay with releasing your first MVP, your crappy first draft, or whatever you're writing or you're building, and then trying to get your user feedback? Right? This is what YC always tell us: talk with your customer, isn't it? But it's easier said than done, right? The good thing about social media is, at least for like Twitter and LinkedIn, I think it's very low chance that you're gonna get a downvote on those. I don't think it's allowed. So, and more likely you are gonna get some encouragement by sharing early. So it's okay. And the other thing about social posting is it's independent from each other. It's not your product that you're iterating all the time, right? Your last post is kind of not relevant to today's post. Oh, by the way, Jeffrey, I think you have really good posts. I think you should establish your LinkedIn presence. You're going to be famous in less than a year. You're right, yeah. So the point is that I think you will get encouraged, and it's okay to share. And you can iterate. You can, if you consider your social presence kind of like a product itself, it can iterate faster. You can do a lot of experiments with it as well. I talked with the person the founder of AI Secret, which is the largest AI newsletter. They have over 2 million subscribers. And then he told me that he's able to iterate to the level that he's comfortable with the growth trajectory that he's shooting for in 30 posts. So think about it. You can do A/B testing. You can do all kinds of experiments if you want to. And then 2025 plan for me and my team. We're gonna double down, triple down, maybe 10x down on YouTube. We will work on our LinkedIn and Twitter. I'm working with a branding agency to help me with my YouTube channel as well. I'm gonna share my hack, like my cheat last year. I worked with 2 YouTube coaches last year. One has like 1 million subscribers, one has 6 million subscribers. So they give me a lot of practical tips as well. So if any one of you are interested in learning more, reach out to me. It's free. I can talk with you for free. It's free. I paid them, so you don't have to pay. If you're looking for bullet points, right? If you're looking for like actionable bullet points, here they are. So I probably talked with more than 20 branding experts. They charge between like $500 to like over $1,000. Again, you don't have to pay for it. I'm happy to do a free LinkedIn audit for your LinkedIn profile. It's free. DM me on LinkedIn. I'll do it for free, so you don't have to pay them, right? I already paid the tuition. At least I can do a good baseline for you guys. So don't so trust me. And then I also watched maybe over 100 like YouTube videos, tutorials, a lot of blog posts, several books, like Brandon King's A Million Followers, those kind of things. And I distilled a lot of those actionable insights into the Oscar branding blog. Oscar is a branding platform that we built for one of our clients. So it's kind of like our mini product we're using. But if you want to have like more 干货, check out our blog post. My YouTube channel, again, I'm sharing a lot of the technologies in AI, but I also started to interview founders as well. So if you guys, if you want visibility and you're okay with sharing, be in front of a camera, sharing your insight, building your company, come talk with me. It's free. I would love to feature you if you have insights to share. So that's one. Also accept a sponsorship, Jeffrey. So yeah, and my true shameless plug here. This is my Maven course. Just talking about RAG related technology from our learnings on building real projects with different companies. Last slide. Thank you, WeShine, for inviting me to share my experience today. I think and also share the last little bit nuggets from a founder that I respect, Adam Robinson. Right, he's a somebody else said this, all those success stories I just shared, they all started with 0 follower, right? They all go through this period of time, like Alex Xu, right? Probably 2-3 years he was just posting full time at home. And who knew that he had this, book came out, and then he started his a YouTube channel and a company, stuff like that. And if you read this, he said anyone can grow an audience, and you can do it by posting good content about what you're doing and how you're doing it. So please share more. And that's all I have today. Yeah, thank you very much.